When we first start programming with processing, our programs will typically be fairly short, and they fit very comfortably in a single file. When your programs get really big, you want to break them up into pieces so that you can focus on just one piece at a time. Processing lets you do that by using tabs. Here's a processing window, and it has one tab. And the name of the tab is the same as the name of the program. So let's look at a program that has multiple tabs. This is the landscape program. You'll notice that this program has 5 tabs. And the tabs are named Landscape, Sky, Snow, Tree, and Utilities, because this program makes postcards of a landscape. And in the landscape, there's sky and snow and trees, and there are some utility programs that all of those things use to help them do their work. So let me just sort of scroll through the code here. Don't even bother trying to read it. I just want you to see it's not all that much. It's a little bit more than a screenful at this smaller font than I've been using the rest of the time. This is a little closer to the size of the font I normally program in. So there's a bunch of code, but it's not an outrageous amount. But what's nice about using tabs is if I go to the Sky tab, here's all of the code that's involved in drawing the sky for my postcard. There's nothing here about snow or trees. When it's time to draw a tree, all of that code is over here. So when I want to work on the tree, and I say, oh, the tree doesn't look the way I want it to look, I choose this tab, and all the tree stuff is in this one place. And I'm not distracted by the snow and the sky and the thing that puts it all together. I can focus just on the tree. Now, conceptually, when you run the program, processing takes all the code in all the tabs and just smashes it all together into one big file. And then it runs that one big file. So you can think of these tabs as just a way for you to organize a very big program. You can pretty much cut it up any way you want because, again, conceptually, when you hit the run button, all the files get combined into one file. So let's see how processing stores these tabs. Here's my file browser, and I have one icon. It's a folder for the program we were just looking at by the name of Landscape. So we know that in here there will be at least one file called landscape.pde, and sure enough, there is. These files are listed in alphabetical order. It just happens that the first one to be listed alphabetically is landscape. So there's landscape.pde, and if you look at the other files, you'll recognize the names of the tabs we just saw: sky, snow, tree, and utilities. No accident. The name on the tab is the name of the file. So processing stores each tab in its own file, and all of those files go together under one folder, which is named for one of those tabs. So here's the landscape folder, and it contains the landscape tab as well as all of the others. So let's see how to create multiple tabs in the processing window. So here's a new sketch, and let's suppose that we're making a program to draw maps. So we need a couple of additional tabs, one to draw ponds, one to draw dirt roads, maybe some other things. So to create a new tab, we put our mouse over this right pointing arrow. This is actually a button, and if I click on it, we get a little pop-up menu with several choices. One of them is to create a new tab. All the rest are tab operations. Rename one of the tabs, which will rename the file. Delete it, which will delete the file. And then there are 2 keyboard shortcuts for moving back and forth through the tabs if you don't want to click on them with the mouse. And then finally at the bottom is a list of all the open tabs. Again, so you can just click on one. Right now we have just one of them open. So let's choose New Tab and create another tab. So I will simply go on to New Tab and click it. And you'll see that our status bar has changed from gray to sort of a yellow, dark yellow color. The prompt is telling us enter the name for the new file. And that, as we've seen, will also be the name of the new tab. So let's say we're going to create a file that will draw ponds in our map making program. Now we don't say draw ponds.pde. Processing will add the PDE for us. Just say draw ponds. OK. And now we have a new tab named Draw Ponds. And we can type stuff into here in order to draw ponds. So let's add one or two more. I'll simply go back to New Tab, and I'll say Draw Dirt Roads. OK. And I'll add one more. Let's say Draw the Compass Rose, the little thing that shows north, south, east, west. If I now click on this little right going button again, notice that at the bottom of my list I have my 4 tabs. And if I click on one of them, that's the one that shows up in my editor and I can edit it. So let's save this. I'll choose the Save button. My Mac brings up my standard Save dialog box. This is a little more tricked out than yours might be because I have some options installed. And I'll just save this in the default directory, and I'll call it Draw Maps. And I'll hit Save. And the one thing that we can see that has happened here is the name of the tab for our sketch has changed from the default name to the new name, Draw Maps. The title bar also says Draw Maps, and it tells us that it's done its job because down here the little message area tells us done saving. Let's take a look at the files. We expect 4 little files in one folder. Here's a view of my default directory, and we can see that we have a folder named Draw Maps. And inside of Draw Maps, we have 4 files, and as you would expect, they're exactly the 4 tabs we just created. Draw Compass Rose, Draw Dirt Roads, Draw Maps, and Draw Ponds. So now we can break up our programming job into smaller pieces, which will make it easier to think about. When we're thinking about how to draw a dirt road, we only have to look at that code. We won't be distracted by the code for drawing a pond or drawing snowmen or anything else that we might want to be able to draw. When we hit the Run button, conceptually, processing just takes each one of these files and appends them into one big file, one huge long file, and runs that. So tabs are great for helping us break up our work into small pieces so we can just focus on the piece we care about at any given moment.